I've been joined by Hugh Johnson, the author of the World Atlas of Wine and the annual Pocket Wine Guide. Hugh, you'd expect any wine grower from near Silicon Valley to use scientific methods and computers. Do you think McCluskey's gone further than anybody else in this area?
Well, I'm sure he has. I don't think anybody else has really got into all those analyses down to 450 chemical components or whatever it is, or more than that.
Well, do you think it would be possible, after all this analysis, to blend a wine to any sort of flavour that became fashionable?
Well, it might be possible. It'd be terribly expensive, and I don't really see that it would pay. But what I think is fascinating is that here is the computer being able to give the winemaker clues about the mysteries of wine. There are mysteries in wine, and if you can read them off on a graph made by a computer, then surely the computer can help him to know more about it. It won't tell him what to do about it, but he'll know more about what's giving the flavours to the wine.
I presume what he was trying to do in that film was to take the differences in those and see what differences actually people could taste.
Well, yes, Gerald Asher said that it is actually the appreciation that makes a fine wine in that film. That's not strictly true. The wine either is fine or isn't fine. Somebody has to be able to appreciate it. I think that the computers will certainly help make cheap, everyday wines come up in value because they'll be able to analyse.
Do you think it's possible to tell the difference between, to make one that's indistinguishable from French wine, a Californian wine?
Maybe one day it'll be possible, but I hope it's never done, because the great joy of the subject is that California wine tastes like California wine, and French wine.
Right, well, I've got a little test for you here. We've got 4 wines here. 2 of them are from the vineyards that are mentioned in the film, and 2 are French wines, a Burgundy and one from Bordeaux. And we're going to ask you to taste them, and we'll be back for Hugh's comments in a few moments.
Great, isn't it? Some people get all the best jobs. Now, if you watch TV nowadays, you can't miss the high-quality computer graphics, even if you didn't know that that's what they were. The MicroLive graphics, for instance, are produced on a system called Quantel Paintbox, and it's £250,000 worth of equipment. But in the computer graphics industry, you now don't have to spend that amount of money to produce professional quality output, as you're about to see, because this system cost about £30,000. OK, it's a lot of money, but it's a drop in the ocean compared with the cost of the Quantel. Now, this is based on an IBM ATX with a couple of add-on boards, but as always, the secret is in the software. In this case, a high-resolution system from Graphic Products International. And this is the sort of thing that it can do for the front of books and record covers. But of course, it does take a graphic artist to drive it. Ian, you are a graphic artist. Tell us about the system.
Well, the equipment's fairly straightforward. I have a bit pad and a pen, and with the pen I can draw just as I would with pens or pencils. There's a keyboard with which I can input text or figures. Then a prompt screen which tells me whereabouts I am on the menu. And finally a colour monitor which shows me what I'm designing.
But you were an artist long before you laid hands on this type of equipment.
Yeah.
What are the advantages that this equipment gives you over your traditional tools like pencil and paper?
Well, 2 main things really, speed and flexibility. I can change things very quickly with a tool like this, and even at this point now I could change something very rapidly.
You mean with something like this bar graph, which actually looks like it's finished? So, supposing I wanted a different colour, could you do that?
Yeah, that's easy. Well, I'll just go along to the colours section of the menu. And if I take, say, this N bar, I can change that to literally any colour I want.
Yeah. And look at that, I mean, you're not just getting a choice up there of do you want red, green, blue or yellow or something, you're going right through the spectrum of every colour, really.
That's right.
It's very, very subtle.
I've got over 16 million colours to choose from, so I really can make any colour the one I want.
And you can change the depth of the shading and everything.
Yes, everything like that.
OK, well, a bar graph is one way to display this information. Supposing I came along and said, well, I want the information, I don't want it displayed that way. So let's have a pie chart, for instance.
Once again, that change is easy. If I just go along to the graphs area of the menu and literally just type in pie and replot, and that will come up as a pie graph.
What about lettering? Because usually this sort of work has a lot of text, doesn't it?
Yes, well, there are over 700 fonts to choose from. and you can do lots of things with text, like plot it at any angle, plot text on a curve even.
Yeah.
You could even, if you wanted to, change individual colours of letters.
So it's really very flexible.
Yeah.
And there is our pie chart. That's very nice, I like that. Now, what about the people who come along and commission artwork from you, your clients? What do they make of this?
Well, it's a great tool for them as well, because they can literally sit with you and make alterations and really do it at the last minute. And
Sounds like a graphic artist's nightmare, but a client's dream.
Now, of course, a professional like Ian is quite happy starting with a blank screen, but if you're not a natural artist, that blank screen can be very daunting. One way around that is to start with an existing image and then modify that. For example, you can grab a frame from, say, a video recorder or a video camera. And this MSX2 machine from Japan allows you to do just that. I simply press one key on the mouse here and I've grabbed my frame there. The picture goes directly into the computer where it's digitized and stored in the memory. And then it's displayed on the screen. Well, colour video pictures straight into a computer, that's pretty impressive. And the manufacturers tell us that if it went on the market here, it would be priced at just about £1,000. The software then allows you to modify these images, to change the colours and so on, until you have exactly the picture you want.
Well, we've taken a picture of, surprise, surprise, a mince pie using this video camera, and we've fed it into our professional graphics system, and it's just actually in the process of finishing drawing itself out. A digitised mince pie. Ian, what can you do with that apart from eat it?
I could give you a whole mince pie back if you wanted.
Have my cake and eat it, do you mean?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. How do you do that?
Well, what I need to do would be to copy an area of that pastry.
You're not trying to be particularly accurate there, are you?
No, well, I can always change things later.
So you're picking up some crust and some background.
And then I just copy those points, move that up a bit, copy those points around to fill over the gap. And just plot that.
A whole pie. Now, you've made a bit of a slip up here. You've left a gap and a bit of a line. Can you do anything to fill that in?
Yeah, sure. Well, if I can go up to the paint area here. I can actually pick a mode which allows me to push texture around on the screen. If I zoom in there, I'm going quite close. You can see the shape of the brush, and any colours that that brush lands on, it actually picks up as a texture. You can drag that around, much like oil paint, really.
Yes, it's the nearest thing, really, to an electronic paintbrush. That's what it is.
Yeah. So eventually I could get rid of all these join marks.
Yeah. Now, what about the pie itself? Can you move that round the screen?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll need to get a smaller one. So,
I mean, the way you say that, I just need to get a smaller pie. If you were working with pencil and paper, that idea, you just couldn't do it, could you? Take hours of drawing.
You could, but it would take so much time, you probably wouldn't even consider it.
So it does open up whole areas of creativity.
Oh, certainly, yes. Well, if I clear the screen there, now I've got the pie actually loaded on the end of my brush.
The power of the pie, what are you going to do with it?
Well, I could write a message if I wanted to.
What are you writing? Hello, Mum.
Why not?
Oh, a high-tech, low-tech message for your mum, and a happy Christmas to Ian's mum too. Thanks ever so much.
Thank you.
Well, the system is often used to produce artwork for books, magazines and company glosses, so obviously the pictures are needed to be on paper. And for that you use a conventional printer. This one is in fact a colour printer. Or you can use this. It's a digital film camera. Now effectively this takes a high quality photograph of the screen output. On the other hand, if you want a bit of seasonal animation, the system, and Ian can deliver that too.
Hugh, can you tell us something about the wines you've been tasting? Let's start off with wine A.
Yes, certainly. Well, to start with, there are two Cabernet Sauvignons here, one from California and one from, I imagine, Bordeaux. And there are two Pinot Noir wines. Wine A, I'm sticking my neck out, is a California Cabernet Sauvignon of sensational quality. It's a magnificent colour, everything about it is superb. That's the kind of wine that California can challenge France with, I think. But it's got a match in what to me is a perfectly beautiful Bordeaux, a Medoc.
Medoc it is, that's right.
I don't know whether it might be Saint-Julien or Margaux in the Medoc, but it's a fine chateau, but that's a more mature wine. I think it's an older wine than that.
Let's just do with those two, because you got right on the first one. That was indeed California wine. It's a Ridge Vineyard, which perhaps doesn't surprise you.
That's why it's so good.
And the second one is indeed a Margaux, 1981 as opposed to 1984 for the... So you got those two right. How are you going to do on the next two?
Well,
Difficult?
it's easy to see that they are the different grape. They're paler in colour. You see, the Cabernet is darker wine, the Pinot Noir is always paler colour. Burgundy is not a very rich colour, usually. Well, I think, you see, this could be a Burgundy from the Côte de Nuit. It's a rich kind of Côte d'Or Burgundy. If it were a Gevrey-Chambertin or a Nuit Saint-Georges, that wouldn't be surprising.
1983 Nuit Saint-Georges, correct. Well done.
Well,
just one to go.
No prize for getting this as being a California Pinot Noir. And very, very good wine, without perhaps quite the nerve, the subtlety, the excitement, the liveliness that the Burgundy had. But I mean, they're going along the right lines, whether they're using computers or not.
Do you think they're very, very close?
Yes, I mean, especially the Cabernets, really. Those wines, one could say, are equally good, but thank goodness they have different characters.
Well, thank you very much, Hugh. Well, they're very, very close, and I must give compliments to Leo McCluskey. His computers do seem to be working for him. By the way, you did it correctly also in rehearsals, which was very impressive. Leslie, what about coming along and sampling some of this wonderful wine? Perhaps you'd like a glass of it.
You shake the hand of the man. The computer's met its match. You pour the wine, Mac, because I'm going to say that's all for Microlife for 1986. We'll be back in the new year at a new time of 6:15 on a new day, Saturday evenings. So be sure to watch out for us. And in the meantime, have a very happy Christmas.
And a preposterous new year. And now, to close the show...
And the address to write to for more